the symbolic value of having a woman president is also huge. So I'm just, what is the value to women that Bernie will bring
Well, Bernie,
to offset that?
Well, Bernie has the progressive vision. He has a bold vision for the future. He has a record of achievement, and the issues that he talks about affect families more than anybody else, and women are very involved in families. In terms of women's issues, there's really no daylight between Hillary Clinton and Bernie in terms of traditional women's issues, except for the Parental Leave Act that Kirsten Gillibrand is offering and Rosa DeLauro is offering in the House. Bernie has signed on to that. It's the only legislation that will guarantee 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave. Secretary Clinton won't sign on to it because it'll cost $1.60 a week to do, and she won't raise taxes. So there is that one difference.
$1.60 a week, meaning
about $1.60 a week to
per
give each week, about $70 a year for the average income earner, and that is, I think that's the only real difference in terms of women's issues. Bernie's for 12 weeks of paid family leave, and the bill that is before the Congress, and Secretary Clinton hasn't. In terms of, Bernie has a national health care plan to be able to have affordable, accessible health care as a right of citizenship. He wants to have tuition-free public colleges and universities,
right,
so that young people from the time of third grade know that if they work hard and study hard and they want to get a higher education, whether it be a trade school or a liberal arts college or an engineering school, that they will be able to do so. There are vast differences in terms of Secretary Clinton and Bernie in terms of climate change. Bernie's against fracking. Secretary Clinton is not. Trade, he has been against consistently. All the trade deals that have robbed our country of so many jobs. We've lost 60,000 factories.
Okay, but I'm trying to get on the women.
But no, women work.
Women I understand work. That. Okay.
Women raise families, and women are part of families. All of this is that I've never done gender politics. I think most young people don't do that anymore. The point is, it's not whether you're black or white or gay or straight or a woman or a man. It is really, are you a working class person? Are you in the middle class, the disappearing middle class? Are your ideas and your concerns being addressed? And if they aren't, then I think they should really take a look at the bold vision that Bernie brings forward. Because he's here, and what's interesting is when he started this race, he was at 3 or 4% in the polls. And we're now in the enviable position of that the more that people know Bernie, the more they hear him, the more they look at what he's accomplished, the more they like him, and the more they're supporting him. So now he's neck and neck with Secretary Clinton.
Right.
And the trend line has been consistently upward.
Okay. You raise another issue about college, but let me ask this other question first. Bernie's talking about revolution. Part A seems to be getting elected. What is the plan for Part B?
Well, you're already seeing it being enacted. In Idaho and Utah last week, he got 80% of the vote, and they had record turnouts. They had record turnouts in Oklahoma, in New Hampshire. He got more votes. No, the point isn't about them voting for him. The point is we have one of the lowest voter turnouts in the world. Plan A is to make sure that we energize and invigorate our democracy. That's important, not just to elect Bernie, but to affect change, to really affect transformational change. So what he's doing is he stands there and he rallies at a rally for an hour and a half, and he talks about real issues. He doesn't tell stupid jokes. He doesn't, you know, have speechwriters that write his talking points. He talks to them with respect, and that is what people are responding to. The point is, whether he's elected as president, which is what we hope, or he's not, this movement has to continue. This movement has to go on. The people, we need a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we're committed to that. And if he's a president, he wants them to keep him accountable. That's what he wants. And if he's not, he's going to lead the fight to keep somebody else accountable.
Okay. Let me just, since we have some time, let me go back to the college stuff. I'm a retired college professor.
Oh, what did you teach?
I taught public administration.
Oh, wow, okay.
My daughter has a PhD in philosophy, and as she was working on that, I said, you know, teaching in a university is not going to be anything like it was when
Right,
I was
it's
teaching
terrible,
at the
it's terrible,
university.
yeah.
And it seems to me, with all the attempts to make colleges into businesses, and to worry about profits and production and stuff like that, I'm seriously concerned that, you know, college education is simply going to be get your degree so you can get your job, which,
Well, you and I know that that is not what a college education
Right.
should be. It should be transformational
Right.
experience for somebody to learn, to become a lifelong learner, and to realize who they are and what place they have in the society to make, hopefully, hopefully to make a meaningful difference, and in my estimation, but not everybody goes there.
but it seems to me that there's been a deliberate attempt on the conservative side to I mean, our Board of Regents in Alaska now is mostly corporate types, and they're doing everything, you know, in a management style that's all quantitative and how many
Right,
members
exactly.
and things like
And
that.
the same
And that's
thing's
happening everywhere.
K through 12. It's happening everywhere. And that is exactly the direction that Bernie wants to turn away from. And you do it with leadership. You say, you have a Department of Education that looks at not numbers and data only. You know, of course that's important. But I mean, when you ask colleges that take in students that are not ready for college, and then they transform their ability to have a meaningful life, to have a quality of life, and get 2 years of college, or hopefully graduate, that matters a lot. Harvard is no better. Harvard gets the top of the class, and they graduate the top of the class. You shouldn't be comparing the two. It's apples and oranges, and both are extremely valuable. So, you know, to have a more philosophical, intellectual, educational point of view from the Department of Education, I think is extremely
Yeah,
important.
and connected to that, I mean, the other thing I see, you know, when we were kids, you know, there were magazine articles about with automation, what are people going to do with their leisure time?
Right.
And what they weren't considering was, you know, and I think Bernie, you know, is strong on this point, what they weren't considering in the 50s and 60s when things were relatively equitable,
Yes.
and the income taxes were pretty high.
They were high, and the people who ran the corporations, IBM, Tom Watson, I mean, they treated their employees with dignity and respect. They gave them pensions. They gave them good benefits.
Right.
All of those things have changed, and the profit motive is the only
Right. I mean, they weren't considering these were capitalist companies, and that they would be getting rid of the workers and keeping the profits.
Right. Right.
And that's, to me, probably the biggest issue of unemployment is the loss of jobs through
Yes.
automation. I mean, we've got automatic
I think
tellers,
yeah.
we've got serve yourself at the gas station, you call up anyone and you do the work instead of an employee doing the work of triage.
Yeah.
And that's a huge.
I think the more important issue is the intent, as you just laid out, of we have a company to make as much profit as we can.
Right.
We don't have a company that is going to invest in our community and create jobs for people here. I think we have to really take a look at our culture and say, okay, there were some good things back a little while ago that said, you know, the community is what's important, not international, where you a race to the bottom for the worker. So, but we could go on and on.
Right.
And we don't have time. So.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.